Hi, this is Jo and welcome to my Inspired Action Minisode series. These episodes are meant to help you think about your business in a new way and to take inspired action. Join me as I walk around my London neighbourhood and I discuss the most asked questions I get as a business coach. Let's dive in. Today's question is about Instagram. And the question is, how do you actually make sure that you grow on Instagram? How do you actually reach more people? Now, I'm on Instagram and I'm no expert on Instagram, that's for sure. But I myself have been building for the last 8 or 9 months or so on Instagram. And at the point when I'm recording this, I'm about 1,100 followers. Modest by many, but I'm sure that many of you listening think that you would love that number of followers, and everything is relative, right? So wherever you get to, you always look to the next level, which is awesome. That's what we should be doing. And something that I'm just going to share with you today is a few of the things that I found at the early stages in my business building I found have worked for me on Instagram, with the hope that because I may be a few steps ahead of you, you might be able to take some of this on board and use it to progress your growth on Instagram. And indeed, if you are doing really well, you might also find some inspiration and some things you might have been resisting or things you haven't even thought of yet. And too often when we learn things about Instagram, we're learning from people with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of followers. And it can seem so far out of our reach. So I'm excited to be able to share how to grow and things that work when you're just below 1,000 or just a little bit over. So the first thing I want to talk about is Reels. At the point of recording this, Reels are massively favoured by the algorithm by Instagram, and it's pushing them out more than any other of the formats that you could use. And if you, like me, love watching Reels, then you'll know just how fascinating this particular format is. I absolutely adore watching the creativity of business owners, stay-at-home mums, everybody on Instagram, and how they're using the different kinds of trends to really talk to their avatars. And this is what I want to say about Reels, which is when you see Reels that really interests you, you should be thinking to yourself, how can I twist this so it actually resonates with my future clients? How can I make this amusing or educational or informative? How can I make them want to get some of that? How can I make it so it delivers some value, even in that 10, 20, 30, whatever seconds? I'm going to make this real. And what can I say that's going to give them a bit of insight that they're going to value and they're going to want to learn more from me? And actually, it's an interesting day when I'm recording this, because even though I've been doing Reels for a while, literally this morning I went viral. Well, when I say go viral, I mean mini viral, viral for me. They say that you should define going viral for you as 10 times what you would normally expect when it comes to getting reach. That's the number of people that are actually going to see your reel. And this morning I woke up and I opened up my Instagram box and there were loads and loads of likes and follows from people that I'm completely unfamiliar with. And when I went looking at the reels and the numbers of the reach for each reel, I can see that I've hit 11,000 views. And normally I would hit 1,000 and in some cases only a couple of hundred. And interestingly, all of the reels around that are rising too, 2,000, 4,000, 7,000, which means really big numbers for me and more followers are dropping in. And certainly a lot more people are being reached and some of the comments are building. That's really exciting. And the strangest thing is that those reels that are suddenly hitting those larger numbers are not ones that I posted yesterday or even the day before. They've been there for a week or two. So there's some real insight there, which is just because you posted a reel and the numbers might seem quite low at first, and you might feel a bit uninspired, just keep the faith, keep putting reels out there, keep consistent, and suddenly something magical happens. Now, there's nothing that I did on Instagram in the last day or so that, to my knowledge, would have done this. It's just something about the magic of the algorithm, so stay consistent. You might be thinking, I have no idea what I would even create in a reel. Let me give you a little tip that I found works well for me. First of all, I love scrolling through reels. So sit and spend a bit of time just enjoying other people's content. But when you see one that really excites you and you think could be relevant for you and your business, save it. And as I go through, I look for certainly trends where a little piece of music's played or a voiceover that I know that I could mime that I particularly think is going to be relevant for me and my audience. So I'm going to be able to get my message across about the things that add value for people that follow me. So I'll save that. And then later I might have 2 or 3 saved and I'll record them in one go. And the way I deal with it is if I see somebody doing a voiceover and they're making it relevant for their niche, I simply think, what is it that my niche needs to hear, that this particular sound is going to work really well for? And I twist it so it works for my audience. Now, certainly as you become a content creator, you shouldn't just rely on these voiceovers and particular pieces of music. You should create some original content. But I do find that when you get started on Reels, it's a really fun and easy way to get yourself going, which, as we know, is often part of the challenge. Now, the second thing I'd love to share today that really helped me when it comes to my engagement is getting into carousels. Now, carousels is simply when you post more than one image. You know, when you see it on the scroll that there could be 2 or 3 photos in a row, and you swipe to the right to see them all, and you swipe to the right to see the other images. Now, that's a carousel. But the carousels that are particularly helpful for me are the ones where I do mini trainings in my carousel. It's for added value and actually gives really good information, like a tiny little mini series. Now, you can put up to 10 images in a carousel. That's 10 different slides, if you like. And I recommend that you use all 10. And the reason is because if you have 10 and you're telling a nice story that keeps people scrolling all the way through to the 10th one, you're increasing the amount of engagement that they're actually having on your feed. And if you can maximize the engagement, then Instagram interprets that as you putting out really good content and it shows it to more people, the magic of the algorithm. And so it's a virtuous circle. So use 10 and make them count. Do a little mini training. It's something that makes people want to scroll through all the way to the end. And when they get to the end, make sure that you've got a call to action there. Now, a call to action is simply asking someone to do something. It can be something as simple as asking them to post a smiley face in the comments if they agree. Or perhaps just go to your bio and click on a link in order to book a discovery call with you or to download your lead magnet. Perhaps you might even ask them to share this or to save it. Whatever makes best sense according to your content and whatever drives into your business strategy. If you're looking for an example of what the carousels look like, you can go to my Instagram feed, which is at iamjo.ingram. If you click on one of these, there's a good chance that hiding behind it is a carousel, or it could be a reel. Either way, you'll get a little snapshot of what I'm doing at the moment. And here's the third thing to look for, which is other people's feeds. Go and have a look around. Look at particular people who are in your niche. And if there's something that's got a lot of traction for them, replicate it in your own way because it's what your audience is enjoying. It's what your avatar, your niche would like to see, where they're considering that value is being given. Now, whilst it is never about copying on Instagram, it is very much about imitating and using it as inspiration. Twist it into something that works for you and your avatar, as I explained earlier. And that is what's encouraged on Instagram. It's the whole point about trends. So don't work in isolation, doing something all by yourself and reinventing the wheel. Go out and find out what's working for others that are communicating with your perfect avatar and take the inspiration and make it your own. So my invitation for today's inspired action is if you're growing on Instagram, get in there, have a little look at some other people in your niche and post something a little bit elevated this week. Push yourself to produce a longer carousel or perhaps your first reel or perhaps more reels if you're already in that space and watch and see what happens. It may not be the same day, but it may well be over the next few weeks. Stay consistent. And if you are enjoying my second series of the Action Taker Tribe podcast, please do leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and share this with your business besties. I so appreciate the emails and comments that you guys are sending, telling me that you're enjoying this content and getting a lot of value from it. And I would love more people who are exactly like you to hear this too. Have an awesome, inspired day. Take care. Bye now.